Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving,
I don't wanna take advice from fools.
you always won every time you placed a bet.
Money, that's what I want.
I'm Joe Duffy, CEO of OffshoreInsiders.com. We're going to discuss an old sports gambling adage. Is it true? And at the end of this video, we are going to tell you about a Mac Daddy angle that grew from this old angle that is perhaps one of the great systems in all of sports betting. You're going to bet it just about every time it applies, and it's going to completely and thoroughly blow your mind. Unranked favorites to ranked teams. I'll tell you what, when I first got in the business 26 years ago, I was already familiar with this system. A lot of people say you should bet an unranked favorite to a ranked team in college basketball and college football. And more than a quarter century later of monitoring this, I can tell you that it is a good angle. Now, why didn't I say a great angle? Well, it actually is a great angle if it is modified, enhanced, and improved. Reminds me a little bit of the famous NBA zigzag system where we've broken it down, and you can break that one down a little bit more objectively. Do a search on our YouTube channel. We've done quite a few articles on it if you're not familiar with what it is. But as we've said, that statistically, it is almost a wash where it hovers between 51 and 52%, but that is right above or just below the break-even mark. The records obviously varies from year to year. However, we improved it with our bounce-back theory, which is sensational and hits anywhere from the upper 50s to lower 60%, where we have a couple different variations of it. Kind of the same thing here. When you go with the odds makers, the louder the statement that they make, or the more emphatic statement they make, the stronger the system is when it comes to betting on unranked favorites to ranked teams. Now, what do we mean by more emphatic statement? Simply put, it is a combination of the higher ranked the underdog is, and or the bigger the favorite is, the stronger the system becomes. Therefore, just that explanation alone has addressed most of the questions I've heard about this angle, some of the cynicisms, etc. Some people have said, for example, well, which poll do you use? Because sometimes a team might be ranked in one poll and they won't be ranked in another. Well, as we said, the higher the rank the team is, the stronger the system becomes. So if they're unranked in one poll, that means in the other poll they're very likely ranked 23rd, 24th, 25th. Therefore, it is weighted very lightly. But when you have a rare case, and it has happened in both college football and college basketball, where you have, say, a top 5 team that is an underdog to an unranked team, the system becomes infinitely stronger. And likewise, some people say, well, what if one team opened as the favorite, but then they closed as the favorite? Well, the reason this system works is sports handicapping is a lot of different things. But high on the list, sports handicapping is the art of finding the overvalued team and the undervalued team, or, and somewhat related, finding the overachieving team or the underachieving team and betting on those teams to regress to their mean. And there is no better indicator to do that than to pit the odds makers against the media polls. If the odds makers are saying that an unranked team should be a big favorite to a ranked team, there is a great indicator that we've got an undervalued team against an overvalued team, an underachieving team against an overachieving team, and therefore we will go with what the odds makers are telling us and bet on the favorite under those circumstances. But to answer specifically, if a team opens as a favorite, because it is based on the odds maker's knowledge, therefore the opening line, not the public move. We're not betting on the public move against the pollsters. We're betting on the odds makers. So when a team goes from a favorite to an underdog, just like we do with any line move, anytime there is a big line move, we go and find out the answer why. Is it something directly related to legitimate handicapping intel, with an injury being the most obvious? If we're talking football, maybe a star quarterback is injured. That's the reason for the line move. Well, the intelligence is always going to supersede the system itself. And then if it appears to be a pure money move, we check with our various contacts. Is it a sharp money move? I mean, is this from a person or a group, a syndicate that consistently wins their bet, or is this a square money move? But more times than not, if it is a money move, even though technically a team going from a favorite to an underdog may take it out of the system, in reality, it enhances the system, because as we've refined it, as we refined and improved this system, it is most definitely based on the opening line, and that is barring any major handicapping intel changing in the interim. Now, this does trace its roots back, like I said, to when there was a top 20 rather than a top 25. Again, cynics will say to me, well, geez, you know, now that they added 5 teams to being nationally ranked, what happens if they add 5 more? What if it becomes a top 30? Again, I get back to what I said. The higher the ranked team is, the stronger the play is. And then truthfully, once you start getting to be the 23rd and 24th and 22nd ranked team, it's not as strong anyway. Now, that being said, because one of the biggest areas of improvement I've made in recent years is knowing that motivation and pressure is not the same from game to game. It's going to vary from situation to situation, team to team, and game to game. So still, being quote-unquote nationally ranked does have some motivational advantages and motivational dichotomies, whether it's beating that team or the pressure of being such team. So still, you don't want to ignore when a team is nationally ranked, even if that number in that exclusive club increases by a couple more, etc. But again, the bottom line is, regardless of whether the USA Today says 20 teams are nationally ranked, 25 teams are nationally ranked, or hypothetically in the future maybe 30 teams nationally ranked, still the golden rule is the higher the ranked team is, the more powerful that system becomes. Now we have found the beautiful daughter of this system, a much better system that percentage-wise is uncanny. Now, there is no such thing as a sure thing in sports betting, but we do have a related system that we have found over the years is darn close to being close to a sure thing. We'll tell you about it in a moment, but remember, offshoreinsiders.com. I've been in this business since June 1st, 1986. My picks debuted on the score phones as a 900 number. The Cadillac Club, it was known then. Now, Joe Duffy's Picks at offshoreinsiders.com is where you go for the best football picks. I was nicknamed the NFL specialist back in, I guess it was the 1990s, where a couple high rollers who subscribed to us on the Charge by Phone had said the truth. They've never seen any person dominate any single sport the way I have the NFL. Of course, I'm pretty damn good in college football as well. But this football season, you want to be with Joe Duffy's Picks at offshoreinsiders.com. Also, the home of the Master Lock Line, which also traces its roots back to the score phone days, going back to the 976 Lock Line days. Now, what is the master related system that we've discovered when tracking this system? We've also found out that when you have a lower ranked or an unranked road favorite to a higher ranked team, likewise, going with the favorite is as strong of a play as you will get as far as an angle to almost blindly bet. There are few angles that are stronger than that. But again, it gets back to the frequently asked questions. Especially in college basketball, we found that occasionally you're going to get a team that is higher ranked in one poll, and the other team is higher ranked in the other poll when they're meeting each other, and you do have a road favorite. Again, the louder the statement, the stronger the play becomes. In a situation like that, it's not quite as strong. So we are talking about unequivocal favorites against an unequivocal lower ranked team. That is the super system. Now keep in mind, the original system is purely unranked teams as favorite to ranked teams. But the Mac Daddy, one of the greatest systems in the history of sports, it can be a lower ranked road favorite, or an unranked road favorite to the higher ranked team. But again, unequivocal, they're going to be lower ranked, and unequivocal, they are the favorites. The bigger the favorite and the bigger the dichotomy in the rankings, the stronger play it becomes. For winning angles like this, good old-fashioned handicapping, super systems, so much more, unprecedented winning picks. Joe Duffy's Picks. www.offshoreinsiders.com. Please subscribe to us here on YouTube. Also, keep in mind that we are available on Stitcher iTunes, and TuneIn when it comes to podcasts. Many, not all, but most of our podcasts or most of our videos are actually converted into podcasts, so you can get them on quite a few of the podcast apps. So subscribe to us at all the following places: YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and more. And most importantly, subscribe to our picks. Joe Duffy's Picks, www.offshoreinsiders.com.